Yeah, let's start off with congratulations on getting your barn door. Can you tell us how this barn door trumps maybe a barn door you might catch fishing out in the Puget Sound area?
Well, I mean, for me, I did this race in 2010 and 2012, and I had a really disappointing race. I mean, I just didn't feel that I tried very hard, and the only reason I came back to do this race was, I just wanted to go away feeling that I'd, tried harder, that I'd done my best, and so, whether I got that first to finish or not really didn't matter to me, and I mean, it was a wonderful thing, and I'm very happy, but just the fact that I did try harder on this race made me feel good about never doing it again.
Right, in your interview with Latitude, you had mentioned that you wanted to make the humiliation complete, but obviously you did a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I was joking a bit, but I was very pleased, and obviously when it wasn't until about halfway through the race that it looked like I might get first to finish, and so I really had to bear down, and Joe on Archimedes, was pushing me right. Well, Joe and Al were really pushing, and so it was a great relief to cross the finish line. That's for sure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the Palmer Johnson 49, when you got it, its history and whatnot, and how you came across it.
Well, I used to own a wooden boat built in 1899 that I did a lot of sailing on, and when I sold it, I decided that I didn't want to own a boat for a while. Of course, that lasted about 3 months, and I found this. I just saw an ad for this boat. I only bought it because of the way it looks. It's a very beautiful boat, and many years ago, I had a friend that owned a Swan 55, and I thought, well, one day when I retire, maybe I can get one of those. But in fact, they went up in value, so I couldn't even come close to affording a Swan 55. But this one looks something like so it's flush deck, with a very small coach roof, I guess you'd call it, but a very, very small one. And so I just went. It was in Olympia, Washington. I live in Canada, and so just for fun, a friend and I went down and had a look at it, and I ended up buying it. And it's a long story, and that was about 8 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And so this boat used to be a very competitive race boat, and it won the Trans Pac I think it was 77. It was 77 or 79. It won Class B in the Trans Pac. So, I mean, it had coffee grinder winches and everything. They weren't on board by the time I bought the boat. But, and so I bought it, and I just, the people who owned it for many years and had won the Trans Pac and won many races up in the Northwest, they're very competitive people and did very well, great sailors. But the daughter had sort of started turning it into a cruising boat, and that just seemed like a good idea to me, so I spent a long time turning it into a cruising boat, and then I started to take it in a few beer can races, and of course, I realized that all this weight I'd put on wasn't doing me any good at all, so I started to lighten the boat up a bit, and then, so we did the Pac Cup with it in 2010 and did terribly, and we did the Single Handed race in 2012 and did terribly. And this has sort of been my only moment of joy as far as racing goes, is getting here first before the other boats. Of course, I should have got here before the other boats because I had the longest water line in the fleet, I think.
Right.
If not if not the longest one. So.
Right. And can you tell us how long has the Single Handed Trans Pac been on your radar?
Well, I've spent my whole life on the water. I don't know if you saw, I've just written a book, Lee Shore Blues, about my life on the water. And I've done a lot of sailing, but I've, worked as a commercial fisherman and a tugboat skipper, and done a lot, just as cruise ship skipper and all kinds of different things. and but I'd never done an ocean crossing by myself. And so after the Pacific Cup, I'd hoped to sail the boat back by myself from Kaneohe Bay, and for one reason or another I didn't. I didn't think the boat was quite ready, so I had some horrible people on board, and terrible, just a disaster of a trip from a personnel point of view. And then, so I came across the website, and I thought, boy, that might be a fun thing to do, and I'd get to cross an ocean, but do it with a bunch of other people. So, get to cross an ocean by myself, but, do it. And it's really, in this race, you can keep the bloody race as far as I'm concerned, but all the associated, the people that you're involved with are really, really great people. And we've made a ton of friends, and we're over here now. We've got, our kids are here, and it's a big family reunion practically. So that's really the fun of the race. And the radar, when did it get on my radar? When I read that it's a bug light for weirdos, I thought that's the race for me. So, yeah.
Very, very good. Can you give us a little recap on how your trip across the Pacific went? It was pretty much 14 days, right? 2 weeks push to finish, a little short of that. You had good breeze at the beginning.
Yeah, too much breeze. Well, the big terror for me is getting out of San Francisco Bay, because I'm 66 years old. I can't short tack this boat. It's just too much for me. I've got a 135 roller furling jib, and it's just too much for me. And so my big terror was getting out of San Francisco Bay, and I wasn't worried about much beyond that, because the boat is fantastically strong. It's an aluminum boat, and it's built to break ice almost literally. The gear is really heavy. The rigging is, so there's no real worries for me except for getting out of the bay. And anyway, it wasn't foggy. It was foggy the last time, which made it really worse with the big ship traffic. And it wasn't foggy, and it was quite a nice day, blowing a bit hard, so it was a real job to get out of the bay. And then once out of the bay, we had sort of a very short period of just nice sailing, and then it blew really, really quite hard for about, I can't remember, 2 or 3 days, but I was standing by. Domino lost their rudder. He was in the race, and so I was, there was a question for a time whether I would have to go to his assistance, which I wasn't looking forward to at all, because it was going to be 5 miles upwind, and at that point I think it was blowing about 33, which is a ton of wind for me in this boat. And anyway, so after that we just got into some really, from then on it was really nice sailing. I found that, and other people will tell you differently, but for me I found the squall activity was more active than usual. Really a lot of squalls. So you never got a long period of sleep at night, because you were continually up reefing, and then an hour later you're flopping around, so you're up to shake the reef out, and then an hour after that you're putting a reef in. There were times I probably reefed and shook out reefs 3, 4, 5 times in a 24-hour period. But just from the squalls. But the sailing itself was pretty pleasant. I could have used some more wind in the sort of middle passage area, and then it got really interesting, because somebody pointed out to me that I wasn't in the lead, but I was very close to the lead. So then, of course, I had to bear down and pretend I was a competitive sailor, and that made the last 3 or 4 days pretty interesting.
Right, and you managed to finish in the daylight, and had some people come out to greet you.
Oh, it was perfect. The greeting boat this time, and they had a bunch of, all the guys, just they climb on board, they just took over, and put my sails away, refurled the jib, and they have a big, they had, Lucy was there with the drinks, and then as we're pulling in, there was some canoe races, and so the whole canoe load of racers came out, all cheering, right, circled around me, cheering the first boat in and everything. It was really quite quite emotional. And of course, Christy, my lady friend, was there on the boat, so it was really quite a welcome. And I guess everybody gets the same welcome, except for not everybody gets the canoe of cheering people.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking through the files I've got here, I noticed that there was a for sale sign on Scaramouche when it was at the harbor at the Corinthian Yacht Club. Is she still for sale?
Oh yeah, it's definitely for sale. I've got some people coming over to help me take the boat back to Canada, and the boat's, I've got it in really good shape. It's Category 1 ocean racer with all the current gear on it and everything, but it's too big for me. I mean, if I want to, it just, everything on it is strong and heavy, and a sister ship just circled the world recently and spent a lot of time down around Cape Horn and Antarctica doing high latitude sailing. It's great boats. There's 3 of them.
Okay.
And another one is a wreck, and then there's this one. So
okay.
This is built by Palmer Johnson, designed by Sparkman Stevens, so it's got really good DNA.
Okay.
And yeah, I hope I can sell it without
all right.
trouble.
Yeah, let's help you sell a few boats. Tell us a little bit about your book and where people can find it.
Well, yeah, I'd like to. The book is I'm really getting a lot of great feedback on the book that I'm very grateful for from the other racers who, a lot of them bought it and read it on the way across. So the book is called Lee Shore Blues, and it's on Amazon, of course, so you can get an electronic copy or you can get a print on demand. It's also on Kobo, and we're actually selling the book ourselves. You can just email us at leeshoreblues@yahoo.com, all small letters rather, lowercase, and we just shoot you back an email right away telling you what the postage is, and we have it in the mail for you basically as soon as we get a PayPal or check or whatever, and it's working quite well. Yeah, they're selling well. Everybody's a lot of good feedback. It's not a book that, it's sort of a guy book. I hate to say it, but if anybody who likes boats will like the book, but it's very frank. Let's put it that way.
Okay, and a quick description of the content within. I think I read something about your past in the Caribbean, sailing with charters and things of that nature. What else is included in that?
Well, what it does, it starts off with me finding this wooden boat called Carlotta, which is one of the original Bristol Channel pilot cutters built in 1899, and it's the story of me finding that in the UK in the 70s, and I spent 4 years rebuilding it, and then I sailed it without an engine or any modern gear. It's 50 feet long, 30 tons, and I sailed it from the UK but to the Caribbean and lived there for several years, and then from Panama to Hawaii. That was a 49-day trip, and then back to the Northwest where I kept sailing it. But once I had the boat back in Canada, then I was a commercial fisherman for 10 years, salmon fishing off the Queen Charlotte Islands, and after that I ran an eco-tour boat, taking tourists up to Southeast Alaska for, I think, about 5 years I did that, and I had a job in the running one of the Windjammer Barefoot Adventure ships in the Caribbean.
Uh-huh.
So I did that for a year, and I had a lot of adventures there that are recounted in the book, and then I did a lot of yacht deliveries, and after that, and that kind of thing. Now I'm semi-retired and just writing about it.
All right, very good. Well, again, congratulations on your barn door, and we'll let you get back to enjoying the tropics with your friends and family, and have a Mai Tai for me.
I certainly will, and thanks very much for your interest.
All right, thank you, Peter.
Yep, bye-bye.
Bye.